Hi, this is Mr. Blay. We are here working on problems from IXL section U.9, which seems to be giving some people a little bit of trouble. So I'm going to work through a couple different examples. This first problem here, as you can see, is Mrs. Roy wants to get family portraits taken and is comparing prices between two different photography studios. Zimmerman Photography charges $12 per portrait sheet, plus $57 for a session fee. Lasting Memories Company charges $55 for a session fee and $14 per portrait sheet. If Mrs. Roy plans to purchase a certain number of portrait sheets, the cost will be the same at either studio. How many portrait sheets would that be? What would the total cost be? So in order to start this problem, that's a lot of words and a lot of information. One of the things you want to start is finding out your two equations. Because we are doing a system here, okay, we need to find two different equations. So one of our equations is going to be for Zimmerman Photography right here. So this whole sentence on Zimmerman Photography is going to become one of our equations. All right, so we always look for a fixed value and we always look for a changing value. Okay, so if you take a look at Zimmerman Photography, this value here, the $12 per sheet, that is always our changing value. Changing values are always our slopes or our M values. We also look for the fixed value, which in this case is the 57, because it does say that the $57 is a session fee, which means that's a one-time fee. You're only going to go for one session. So this particular one for Zimmerman Photography, I'll just abbreviate it as Zim, will just be as y equals our slope as 12 and our y-intercept as 57. The fixed value, again, being here as a y-intercept, the per portrait sheet value or the slope value being here. All right, so that's your slope and that is your y-intercept there. Okay. But that's only one of our equations. We also need a lasting Memoirs Company equation, which is going to be here in this one. All right, so we're going to try and figure out a lasting memoirs equation. It'll still be the same format, y equals mx plus b, but obviously we're going to have different numbers. So again, if you look here, this one, the sentence is structured a little different. They talk here about the $55 session fee. And as we did in the other example, this is our y-intercept. This is our fixed value, okay? The $14, you'll notice it says 14 per portrait sheet. This $14 is our M value, okay? That's gonna be our slope here, all right? So again, it'll $14 for the M and then $55 for the y-intercept. So your equation is your 14x plus the 55. Okay, so this tends to be the hardest part, is writing these two equations. Once you have them, because the question essentially asks when is the cost going to be the same, you actually want to set your two equations equal to each other. Ultimately, what you're really doing is you're plugging in this portion of the equation to the y value of the first equation. And again, because y equals this value here, you can plug it into the other y value. So here's what that's going to look like when you plug it in. You'll have your 14x plus 55 equal to, again, the Zimmerman equation, which is the 12x plus 57. Now you then have to solve this. Okay, so if you move the x's first, you subtract the 12x's from both sides. They will cancel here and you'll get 2x's. The 55 comes down and the 57 comes down. All right, and then if you continue to solve your equation, you move the 55 to the other side by subtracting, which cancels there, so you have 2x equals 2, and then you divide both sides by 2. So you have x is equal to 1. Now, the key thing about this, okay, with the x being equal to 1, is you have to determine what exactly the x is. Okay, because if you'll notice in our answers, they want how many orders and they want the cost. So you have to determine, is x your cost or is x your portrait sheets? So remember when we wrote our equations, remember up here, see how we had $12 per portrait sheet? And look what the 12 is next to. The 12 is next to X. Here we have 14 per portrait sheet. So again, the 14 is next to X. So this X is portrait sheets. Okay? So portrait sheets will go here in your IXL answer. Okay? So it's going to be one portrait sheet. You do still need to determine your cost. Cost you can always determine by just taking your X value here and plugging it back into either of these equations. If you're not sure about your X value, if you question whether it's right or wrong, plug it into both of these equations. They should come out to the exact same number, which I'll show you right here. So if you put 1 into the bottom equation, you'll get y equals 14 times 1 plus 55, which is simply 14 plus 55, which is $69. All right, again, if we plugged it into the top equation here, you'd get y equals 12 times 1 plus 57, which is just 12 plus 57, which again will equal $69. If you've done this X value correctly, you should get the exact same answer here no matter which equation you plug it into. So your final answer is that if Mrs. Roy orders one portrait sheet, the portrait session will cost $69 at either studio. Hopefully this helps. Thanks, guys.